stranger danger paradox is the ultimate irony of the digital age. We have been conditioned to lock our doors and avoid eye contact with our neighbors, yet we willingly hand over our private data, psychological vulnerabilities, and financial trust to nameless algorithms and distant content creators. We have traded the high-context reality of our physical surroundings for the curated mirage of the digital interface. In the local neighborhood, trust must be earned through consistent, repeated interaction. On the screen, trust is manufactured through symmetry of design and illusion of intimacy. This is the Digital Stockholm Syndrome. We fear the man across the street who might help us jumpstart a car, while we worship the data broker 3 time zones away who is selling our attention to the highest bidder. Historically, human trust was built on propinquity, the physical proximity that leads to repeated, spontaneous interactions. You trusted your neighbor because you saw the total human. You saw them take out the trash, deal with their kids, and age. This transparency creates predictability. However, in modern urban environments, we suffer from social friction. We view our neighbors as noise or interference in our private sovereignty. Because we only see their flaws and never their depth, we relegate them to the category of potential threat. We have optimized our lives for isolation disguised as independence, turning our apartment complexes into vertical filing cabinets for lonely souls. As Carl Jung noted, the mass is a monster, a person is a human. Our neighbors have become part of a faceless mass to us. We have projected our collective shadow onto the stranger next door, viewing them through the lens of local news warnings and true crime podcasts. We have replaced a village with a vigilant state, where the person 3 feet away is a stranger, but the person 3,000 miles away is a friend. This projection is a defense mechanism. If we can label our neighbor as a threat, we don't have to perform the grueling emotional labor of being neighborly. The screen bypasses our biological threat detection systems through parasocial interaction. When you watch a creator or an influencer, your brain's primitive circuitry cannot distinguish between a one-way broadcast and a two-way friendship. You feel you know them because they speak directly into the camera and share vulnerabilities. This is engineered authenticity. We are being hunted by algorithms that have mapped our loneliness and sold us a subscription to a simulated community. This creates a trust asymmetry. You trust the screen because it provides controlled interaction. The screen never asks you for a favor, never has a loud party at 2 a.m., and never challenges your worldview. It offers a perfection of choice. You trust the algorithm because it acts as a confirmation bias loop, feeding you exactly what you want to hear. As Nietzsche observed, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. The screen is the ultimate illusion machine, and we trust it because it protects our ego from a messy, uncurated reality of a real neighbor. We trust the screen because it utilizes status signaling and social proof at scale. A neighbor is just Bob. A person on a screen has 100K followers, professional lighting, and a verified badge. Our brains interpret these digital signals as tribal authority. We have been programmed by evolution to look toward the center of the tribe for information. In the past, that was the elder. Today, it is the person with the most engagement. This is a democracy of the loudest, where credibility is measured in clicks rather than character. This is the interface fallacy. We confuse the quality of the display with quality of the data. Because an app is sleek, fast, and responsive, we assume the information it provides is equally high performance. We would never give our credit card to a neighbor we've known for a week, but we will give it to a free trial on a website we found 10 seconds ago. We trust the systems of design more than we trust human character. We have been hypnotized by the aesthetics of reliability, assuming that if something looks expensive to build, it must be honest. The paradox is fueled by the illusion of exit. We trust the screen because we feel we can turn it off. This perceived control makes us drop our guard. We believe that we are the ones consuming the screen, when in reality, the screen is consuming us, harvesting our attention, our data, and our emotional stability. In contrast, a relationship with a neighbor is sticky. It requires work. It involves the risk of awkwardness and the burden of accountability. We hate the neighbor because they represent a mandatory reality, whereas the screen represents a voluntary fantasy. To expand the depth, we must examine the gamification of social interaction. Our digital platforms are designed as Skinner boxes. Every like, comment, and notification is a hit of dopamine that reinforces our trust in the machine. We don't trust the person on the screen as much as we trust the feeling the screen gives us. Neighbors don't provide a user interface. They don't have a UX designer optimizing their interactions to make us feel significant. Consequently, we perceive the lack of digital polish in our physical world as a lack of value. Furthermore, we are witnessing the commodification of vulnerability. Influencers share their darkest moments to build brand equity. This manufactured openness creates a false intimacy that our neighbor, who is actually living a difficult life, cannot compete with. The neighbor is too real. Their pain is inconvenient. The influencer's pain is content. We prefer the content because it allows us to feel empathy without the responsibility of actually helping. It is spectator compassion. Consider the data mining of the soul. We fear the neighbor seeing into our windows, yet we allow corporations to see into our search history, our health metrics, and our private messages. We have redefined privacy, not as protection from the powerful, but as protection from the local. We are terrified of the person who lives next to us knowing we're struggling, but we are perfectly fine with an AI in Silicon Valley predicting our next depressive episode to sell us antidepressants. This is distance-based trust, where the further away the observer is, the safer we feel. We also suffer from hyper-specialized tribalism. The screen allows us to find a tribe that agrees with us on 100% of issues. The neighbor, by definition, is a generalist. They may have different politics, religions, or lifestyles. Because we have lost the ability to navigate cognitive dissonance, we find the neighbor dangerous. We choose a safe stranger online who reinforces our bubble over the risky neighbor who might challenge it. This is the death of the public square, replaced by a billion individual echo chambers. Finally, we must confront the end of accountability. If you mistreat a neighbor, you have to live with the fallout. If you mistreat someone online, you can simply block them or delete your account. We trust the screen because it offers consequence-free living. We are drawn to the screen because it allows us to be our most narcissistic selves without the sticky social costs of a physical community. We are trading our humanity for convenience, and the price is a profound, systemic loneliness that no amount of followers can fix. The expansion of this paradox lies in the erosion of shared narrative. When we relied on neighbors, we shared a physical landscape, a park, a street, a local weather pattern. This created a shared reality. Now, we occupy the same physical space while living in entirely different digital universes. Two neighbors can sit on their respective porches, one being radicalized by far-left algorithms and the other by far-right influencers. They are no longer neighbors. They are involuntary cellmates in a physical world they both despise. This is a geographic divorce, where physical proximity no longer implies social cohesion. We are also witnessing the professionalization of friendship. Because real-world community is dying, we now pay for coaches, consultants, and community managers to provide the support that a neighbor used to provide for free. We have outsourced our humanity to the GIG economy. We trust a paid therapist via an app more than a lifelong acquaintance because the app provides a service-level agreement. We have replaced the organic, messy, and free brotherhood of man with a series of high-priced, sterile, and legally binding subscriptions. The digital screen has become a psychological invisibility cloak. We feel seen by the algorithm because it knows our preferences, but we feel hidden from our neighbors because they only see our physical shell. We fear the physical gaze because it is unedited. We prefer the digital gaze because we can control the metadata. We become so addicted to the edited self that the raw self required for real-world interaction feels like a vulnerability breach. We avoid our neighbors not because they are dangerous, but because they might see the parts of us we haven't filtered. Furthermore, the technological displacement of purpose has rendered the neighbor obsolete in our survival strategy. In the past, you needed the neighbor for security, for information, and for shared resources. Today, you have Amazon for resources, Google for information, and Ring cameras for security. The neighbor is no longer a survival asset. They are a liability. We have engineered a world where we don't need each other, and as a result, we have forgotten how to like each other. We are the most connected species in history, yet we are the only ones who can die in an apartment building and not be discovered for weeks. The sovereign individual realizes that the screen is a tool, but the neighbor is a resource. True security is not found in an encrypted app. It is found in a high-trust network of people who know your name and see your face. Break the stranger danger spell. Look at the screen with the skepticism it deserves, and look at your neighbor with the curiosity they earn. The most apex move you can make in a digital world is to become locally present. It is a rebellion against the algorithm of alienation.